Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your home for all things Liverpool. Today we've got huge updates. Virgil van Dijk's demands answered, a tricky $125 million Alexander Isak transfer battle, fresh news on Marc Guehi, and advice from Salah. And Van Dijk for our rising wonderkid. Stick around. You won't want to miss this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn in the transfer window. Liverpool transfer news. Virgil van Dijk demands met after captain gave clear indication. Liverpool have signed a host of new players this summer, and Virgil van Dijk will be pleased the Premier League champions have made such a big splash in the transfer market. Liverpool responded to Virgil van Dijk's transfer window demands in the best possible way by agreeing to his new contract terms and showing their ambition to win a record-breaking 21st top-flight title. The Dutch defender's decision to renew his contract in April was met with jubilation from Reds fans, but he had previously urged the club to make a bold statement in the transfer market. Despite not making any significant outfield signings in his first summer as Liverpool coach, Arne Slot clinched the Premier League title. However, this year, the Merseyside club loosened their purse strings and splashed out more than $400 million on fresh talent. The recruitment of attackers Alexander Isak, 125 meters, Florian Wirtz, 160 meters, and Hugo Ekitike, 82 meters, has particularly thrilled fans. These signings echo Van Dijk's earlier call for the club to invest heavily in the squad, even before it was confirmed whether he would stay at Anfield beyond the summer. Whatever happens in terms of players going out, players coming in, I think it should be a big summer, the Dutchman stated just before his 2-year contract extension was announced, reports the Mirror. I think they're planning to make it a big summer, so we all have to trust the board as a Liverpool-connected fan to do the right job. I think Liverpool should be able to challenge for titles in the upcoming years. Many would concur after witnessing the club's recent transfer activities. The Reds are already showing promise to retain the Premier League title, having won their first 3 matches. There was hardly a part of Liverpool's squad that didn't see new additions this summer. Slot's enhancements in attack are well justified, while 18-year-old Italian centre-back Giovanni Leone has provided the club with a potential successor to Van Dijk. Andy Robertson also faced fresh competition at left-back from Milos Kerkez, who seems to be Slot's preferred choice. The departure of Trent Alexander-Arnold was offset by the arrival of Jeremy Frimpong, who impressed at right-back on his debut against Bournemouth before suffering a hamstring injury. Liverpool have inconvenient truth over 125 minators. Alexander Isak transfer as long game awaits Arne Slot. The knives will be out for Alexander Isak and his 125-meter British transfer record move to Liverpool. But there is a long game at play at Anfield. For a player arriving for a British record transfer fee of 125 meters, there is an inconvenient truth that few will want to hear around Alexander Isak at Liverpool. As the most expensive footballer of all time, both on Merseyside and English football, as a whole, the Sweden international arrives with his stock at its all-time highest, on the back of 23 Premier League goals last term. Isak also helped former employers Newcastle United see off his new ones in March's Carabao Cup final, dispatching the winning goal at Wembley to end a 70-year wait for a domestic trophy on Tyneside at the expense of Arne Slot and his future Premier League winners. The scale of the transfer and manner of its execution have inevitably gained so much exposure and coverage during the summer months, and it was telling to note that, so far at least, so few behind the scenes have been willing to offer much detail about Liverpool's side of the negotiation process with Newcastle, or how the blockbuster deal came about from their end. Given the often incessant noise around the player's fallout with Newcastle, a saga which became increasingly tawdry and tedious for those without a skin in the game, there is an aligned stance inside Anfield that there is little to be gained from even privately discussing the specifics around the 125-meter transfer, at least just yet. Given the anger that permeated the Newcastle fan base during Isak's very public agitation to get his dream move across July and August, offering any counterpoints to the mainstream narrative from the buying club's perspective, would likely only fan the flames further. Liverpool have their man, and that is all that matters for now as far as Slot, sporting director Richard Hughes, and the rest of the key figures behind the scenes are concerned. The facts that were outlined to the Echo on deadline day were simple. He signs on a 6-year deal for €125 and he will wear the number 9 shirt. Anything else could be gleaned from his official interview with LiverpoolFC.com, which was published at 9:30 p.m. on Monday to coincide with the formal unveiling. Liverpool are somewhat fortunate that the deal arrived just before an international break, in the sense that it allowed the story to die down before the resumption of Premier League action next week. Liverpool set for new challenge after change of management, and major exit. Liverpool women enter a new era when they entertain Everton in the WSL opener on Sunday. New season, new optimism. And a new head coach, too, for Liverpool women as they enter a new era with Gareth Taylor at the helm. Taylor, who spent 5 years in charge at Manchester City, joined last month as permanent successor to Matt Beard, who was sacked in February as a consequence of a difficult season for the Reds, who were well short of the Champions League qualification places in mid-table. Liverpool begin the Women's Super League with the small matter of the Merseyside derby against Everton at Anfield on Sunday afternoon, kickoff 12 p.m. And while raring to get going, Taylor admits transforming the Reds into genuine competitors in the division will be a long-term project. I'm really looking forward to it. It's the start of a journey, and what a way to begin with a home game against your local rivals, he says, speaking to the Echo. Anfield is one of those grounds that when you walk into it, you can almost feel it. It gets the hairs on the back of your neck really standing up as it's such a special place. It's a big challenge to start, but there are a lot of challenges here. We are aware that we are at the beginning of a project, and the club's really aligned within that. I'm excited about the challenge, but we know it's going to be really tough to get us to the level that we want. We understand how long that's probably going to take and where it's going to take us. We understand there's probably going to be a few bumps in the road, and recruitment is really going to be really key. That ramped up significantly on Thursday ahead of that evening's transfer deadline with the arrival of striker Beata Olsson from Swedish club Kristianstads, the signing on loan of Barcelona midfielder Emilia Šimčák and Manchester City right-back Risa Shimizu, and a permanent deal for Alejandra Bernabé, who spent last season with the Reds from Chelsea, already agreed. Were deals for goalkeeper Raphael Borgroff, defender Lily Woodham, and midfielder Kirsty McLean, while Sam Kerr made a permanent move from Bayern Munich, having spent the second half of last season on loan with the Reds. The big loss, of course, was Olivia Smith, who left for Arsenal in what at the time was a world record $1 million move. Unless you're going to replace with like-for-like quality, it's really hard to directly replace someone like Olivia, admits Taylor. We recognize where we are as a club. What was really good with Olivia is that she came and had the opportunity to showcase her talents and was given a platform, and we understand that's kind of where we are at the moment. Obviously, in the future, we want to be in a position where those players don't want to leave and are excited about the project. We know that takes a bit of time. Liverpool finished a disappointing 7th last season, just 5 points ahead of 11th place Tottenham Hotspur in the 12-team league, and a whopping 19 off Manchester United in the third and final Champions League qualification berth. Marc Guehi will get another chance to join Liverpool after transfer collapse. Liverpool failed to land Marc Guehi from Crystal Palace before the transfer window shut, but the Reds are expected to make a fresh approach to sign him with his contract. Due to expire next summer, Marc Guehi has been told he will get another chance to join Liverpool after his deadline day switch from Crystal Palace collapsed at the 11th hour. Liverpool was keen to make Palace captain Guehi its final signing of a staggering transfer window and had agreed a deal with the South London club. Palace was under pressure to sell with Guehi out of contract next summer, but head coach Oliver Glasner pulled the plug on a deal when it became clear the club could not sign a viable replacement before the deadline. Guehi, 25, was reported to be unhappy at Palace's decision to deny him a move after continuing to train and play as normal despite negotiations taking place behind the scenes, while the club also allowed teammate Eberechi S. to join Arsenal earlier in the window. But former Liverpool midfielder Dietmar Hamann believes this was not the chance saloon for Guehi, and is confident his old club will make a renewed effort to sign the centre-back in the coming months. Hamann told Coin Poker, "It's obviously not good for Guehi because it looked like it was going to go through. He's got to stick with it now and do the best for Crystal Palace and maybe see if he gets a move in January or next summer. He'll be disappointed, because if you've got a chance to sign for Liverpool and it falls through as close as it did with him, you don't know whether you'll get another chance. But then again, he's still only young. There'll be another chance to join Liverpool." Complicating Liverpool's pursuit is the fact that Guehi can now negotiate a pre-contract agreement with foreign clubs from January 1st, with Bayern Munich and Real Madrid both interested in securing the England international's signature. That could pose a significant problem to the reigning Premier League champion, particularly as current starting centre-back Ibrahima Konaté's contract is also due to expire next summer. Guehi has been praised for his professionalism, despite his transfer falling apart. Though Hamann feels the situation strikes a dangerous precedent, given Liverpool did complete a deal for Alexander Isak, who had spent the previous 2 months on strike at Newcastle to force through a move. It was a chance for Marc Guehi to play for a better team, to perhaps challenge for the Premier League, for the Champions League, and he went about it the right way, Hamann added. "I just wonder what example it sets, because Alexander Isak refused to play or to train and moved while Guehi played well, contributing to the team's success in the first few games, and he didn't get the move. Now you can say, is that trust? Or should it have been the other way around? It's just the way it is." Hugo Ekitike sent new Alexander Isak warning over Liverpool role, "You have to develop." Big things are expected of Alexander Isak after his record-breaking 125-meter move to Liverpool on deadline day, but his arrival could cause difficulties. For fellow new forward Hugo Ekitike, Liverpool star Hugo Ekitike has been warned by Florent Malouda that he must adapt after the arrival of Alexander Isak at Anfield. The Frenchman was signed from Eintracht Frankfurt for around $79 million this summer and was expected to be Liverpool's first-choice striker this season. But Liverpool then splashed out a British transfer record of 125 million on Isak during a frantic deadline day, with the ex-Newcastle star now expected to move ahead of Ekitike in the pecking order. Ekitike has started all of Liverpool's first 3 Premier League games this season and has been a hit so far, scoring 2 goals and assisting once. But with Isak putting his position as a first-choice forward under threat, Ekitike's fellow Frenchman, Malouda has given him some words of advice to help him stay in the team. Speaking to Boyle Sports, Malouda said, "Will Alexander Isak impact the development of Hugo Ekitike? Yes, but great players adapt all the time. You have to renew yourself. You have to almost develop a toolbox. There's always your favorite position. But in modern football, you also have the defensive part of the game where you need to be involved. That doesn't stop you from being at your best level. Especially with young players, that's what's difficult to get. You need to give to the team first. It doesn't matter the position. Then, with the relationship you create with the players around you, you will get the chances to score back because he's a natural goal scorer. He's a real threat, and he has this experience at PSG with a lot of stars, so he knows how to navigate in a dressing room full of stars. But his main thing is he wants to be on the pitch. He wants to improve his stats, deliver and answer to the expectations around him. There will be huge expectation on Isak to deliver the goals for Liverpool in their quest to retain the Premier League title after he netted 23 goals last season. Ekitike will still have chance to be selected in the event Isak is installed as the first-choice striker, with the 23-year-old able to play on the wing. Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk give perfect advice to Liverpool wonderkid, rising rapidly. A outstanding summer for Rio Ngumoha at Liverpool has continued into early September, as Paul Gorst explains. A breakout summer for Rio Ngumoha continued into early September, with 2 more milestones ticked off for the Liverpool starlet, just days after turning 17, having netted 3 times in preseason before becoming the Reds' youngest scorer of all time, with a dramatic 100th-minute winner at Newcastle last month at the age of 16 years and 361 days. Ngumoha was then handed his England under-19 debut in a 2-0 win over Ukraine on September 3rd, before he was included in Arne Slot's Champions League squad for the group stage of Europe's most premier competition on the same day. It's been a few years since there was this kind of an acute buzz around a young player from the club's academy. Even Trent Alexander-Arnold and Curtis Jones did not burst onto the scene in such a fashion, and while those at the club are understandably keen not to hype him up too much, it is easy to see why there is so much excitement. Potentially elite was one source's succinct appraisal of Ngumoha when he joined from Stamford Bridge last summer, while another who had watched him closely from his Chelsea days spoke of their belief that the teenager should be rated among the very best youngsters in European football. His mentality is excellent, the Echo was told at the time. The difference is he wants to be the best. It's a wonderful move. Chelsea didn't help themselves. They didn't do enough to keep him over the last 2 years. Former coaches have spoken about how Ngumoha would be one of the last to finish in the gym late in the evenings after training, and it's understood the player's brother James is a key figure when it comes to keeping feet on the ground and a head out the clouds. For the older Ngumoha sibling, though, there is cavalry on the horizon to help, with Mohamed Salah revealing some sage advice for a new teammate who is nearly half his age. An aversion to fake social media was one of Salah's first principles. While there was also a warning that some players can peak too early, Salah says, "I told him after the Newcastle game, just leave the social media alone. Okay, you can be happy about the goal with your family, with your friends, enjoy the moment to the max because it's like your first moments in football, but don't really get engaged and just get your appreciation from the outside world because it's always going to be fake. You're going to always try to seek that feeling from outside if you just get the appreciation from outside. So what future is waiting for him depends how he's going to handle the situation. How are we going to work? I need to work hard and just stay humble because he's very young. I told him that some players peak too early and they're going to struggle after that.